So now back to reality.
This is probably one of his worst classes he ever had.
No. The worst class he had was y'all last year, the boys.
Our last period class was fire last.
It was not. It was terrible.
It was terrible.
I wasn't even in there.
You're not sent to the office because I walked past.
Anyhow,
Stupid.
now just remember that everything you say is being recorded.
Is this going on YouTube?
Yep.
You about to go famous.
All right, here's the point X, Q, and P. All right. If I'm to find out what the value of X is, then I need to make something equal. Here's what I can make equal. Segment addition postulate. The parts added together equal the total. So 5x minus 3 plus 13 equals 40. There's some math that can be done on the left-hand side. Negative 3 plus 13 is 10. So 5x plus 10 equals 40.
Wait, you put the 13 take away 3?
Yes. No more math to do on the left, none to do on the right, so it's time to start solving for x. All the x's are already on the same side, so move everything else. 5x equals 30. And divide by the number in front of x. X equals 6. There's our first answer. X equals 6. Now we have some options. Did you have a question?
I have a lot of questions.
Okay, go ahead and ask.
So I put 40, like I put backwards. 40 equals 13 divided by 5x equals 3. So,
That's fine.
but then I got 10. Like x equals 10. What did I do wrong?
If you got x equals 10, then you ended up with, you added the 10 here. 40 plus 10 equals 50.
Yeah, but
And 50 divided by 5 is 10.
I just want to know about the minus 10.
Because right there.
On this side it's plus 10, so I marked it out.
Okay.
So on the other side it would be minus 10. Now to find the distance from x to p, you've got choices. It's either 40, take away 13, the total, take away the part, or you just plug the number for x in here. Either way, you'll get the same answer. From x to p equals 5 times 6 minus 3 equals 5 times 6 is 30. Take away 3 is 27. So the two answers for that one are x equals 6, xp equals 27. Number 12 is going to be about the same thing. X is between P and Q. I really hate that they use the point X when they're using the variable X as well. So this time, from X to Q is 3K. From from x to p is 7k minus 2. And from p to q, the whole thing, is 6k plus 16. We need to solve for k, which means we need to make something equal. So here's what's equal. This part plus this part equals the whole thing. (7k minus 2 plus 3k equals 6k plus 16. I shouldn't have done it this way, but here's the beginning of the problem. Got it? Here's the equation you get from that representation. Is there any math to do on the left-hand side?
7K, take away 3.
No.
7k
Plus
3k. Yeah. So 10k minus 2. Is there any math to do on the right-hand side?
6K plus 16. No.
All right. Since there's no more math to do on the left, there's no math to do on the right, it's time for our 3 steps. Move all the k's to the same side.
There's 6k over there.
So here's how I'm going to do this. Mark it out here. Positive here, so that means minus here. 4k minus 2 equals 16.
You add 2.
Add 2 to both sides. So I'm going to mark that out. That's the same as adding 2, and then add 2 to this side.
But 18 equals 4.
4k equals 18.
You divide 4k on both sides.
4 divided by 18.
Nope.
4.5.
Okay, what gets divided by what?
Oh, 18.
4 gets divided by 18.
Nope.
Or 18 divided by 4.
Divide both sides by 4, so we can do that on this side by just marking the 4 out, and over here put it under the 18.
4.5. Then you gotta solve for 18.
So there's the first answer. The variable is 4.5. Now going back and looking at the picture again, how far is it from x to p? It's 7k minus 2. So from x to p equals 7 times 4.5 plus minus 2. What? 29.5. Let's see. This is 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3.5 is 31.5, minus 2, yep, 29.5. Nope. Now, what did you have to know to be able to do this?
Everything.
I had to know that.
Algebra.
I had to know the value. Yeah, I had to know the value.
You had to know that in the description when it said x is between p and q, that you draw your number lines starting with p, ending with q, and you just place x somewhere in between them. Then you go and you read in the description what measures to put where. I need your attention.
My attention is on the board.
Okay, so X is between P and Q. That allowed us to draw this line segment with all 3 points marked on it. Then it told us that XQ was 3K. That means put up 3K right in between the X and the Q. XP was 7K minus 2, so we wrote that right in there. And then PQ, the whole thing, we write that on the bottom to mean the whole thing is 6K plus 16. This automatically gives us things that are equal. These two pieces added together equal the total. If one of these pieces happen to be missing, then it would be the total minus the piece I knew equals the piece that's missing. That allows you to write out an equation which eventually gives you an answer for how much the variable is. Once you find out how much the variable is, you plug it back in to whatever they're asking you to solve for, and you get the answer. Alright, right below that, number 13 through 16. Find the distance. At the distance formula, distance equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared.
Is this number 13?
Yes. The points are -3, 1, and 7, 13. The more I do these formulas that involve x1, x2, y1, y2, the more I want to write my points like this. Because it actually doesn't matter if x2 comes first. What matters is you put your x's in the same order as you put your y's in. So if I write them like this, it takes all the guesswork out of it for me.
I kind of didn't do it. I kind of put the 1 first and then maybe 3 back.
So on number 13, it's going to be first my x's, -3 minus 7 squared. Now my y's, 1 minus 13 squared. And now you start just doing the math. -3 take away 7 is -10. -10 with the square on the outside. 1 take away 13 is -12. In parentheses with the square on the outside. Now, believe it or not, you can forget all about them being negative. Because if you're going to square something, it's going to turn it positive. So it doesn't matter that this is -10. When you square it, you get the same answer as if it were +10. And 10 times 10 equals 100. And 12 times 12, 144. So the square root of 244. That's the answer.
That can be solved.
Yes, we could reduce this.
But would the answer be right if it was reduced?
This is the way I want you to leave your answer. Unless it turns out to be something that you can say, oh, I know what the square root of that is. That is exactly 7. So if you end up at square root 49, you put equals 7.
Bro, I got like 5. So 5.
Okay, it's about 15.6. Alright, number 14, the points are 2, -1, and 10, -7. 2, negative 1, 10, negative 7. So here we go. Here's my x's. 2 minus 10 squared. Here's my y's. Negative 1 minus negative 7 squared. Two take away 10 is negative 8. As we saw in the last example, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative.
So we're going to go positive either way.
Right, so we'll just write it as positive 8 squared. That way we can forget about parentheses. Now over here we have a minus negative. That means it's a plus. Negative 1 plus 7 is positive 6, and it's squared. Eight times 8 is 64. 6 times 6? 36. And 64 plus 36?
Yes. Oh,
100. And the square root of 100, 10.
I'll just do the wrong thing.
Do I need to continue doing these? 11 through 16, they were all the same, or 13 through 16, all the same process. Yes? Okay. Number 15, the points are 9, negative 2, and negative 1, 4. Here's my x's. 9 minus negative 1 squared. Here's my y's. Negative 2 minus 4 squared.
Yeah.
This minus negative turns into a plus. So we have 10 squared plus 6 squared.
That negative 2x and then negative 4, would that turn to the plus?
Negative 2 minus 4 gives you negative 6. So we're just going to write it down as positive 6 since it's getting squared. 10 times 10 is 100. 6 times 6 is 36. 136. That is not a perfect square, so that's the answer. If you work that out as a decimal, it'd be 11 point something. Let's see, 11.7.
So you'll count that wrong on the test if it's a decimal?
No, but this is what I want. I want this right here.
We had all of them together.
What?
We had all of them.
Number 16, the points are 3 and 2, 3, 2, 6, negative 5. So the square root,
16.
3 plus 6 squared. I'm sorry, 3 minus 6, plus 2 minus negative 5 squared. So what am I going to write right here? 3 squared.
3 squared plus 6. No.
7.
Oh, 7.
7
squared. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's 3 squared?
9 and then 7 squared.
1.5.
56.
58. Square root of 58. But then we went to page 80, the next page. We did number 18 and 19. Midpoints. On midpoints, you'll end up with 2 answers. An answer for X, an answer for Y. The midpoint formula looks like this. Get my book right. Midpoint equals x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2, you just add the x values together, divide by 2. Add the y values together, divide by 2. Order doesn't matter on these because you're adding.
Or just giving us the formula of that.
No. So number 18, our points were -3, 16, and 17, 4. Once again, I'm writing them this way to keep myself from making a mistake. Here's my x's, so those 2 numbers go right there. Here's my y's.
Did you get mathly right like that?
Those 2 numbers go right there. What?
Did you get mathly right like that on the test tomorrow?
Yeah. So it's going to equal -3 plus 17 over 2, comma, 16 plus 4 over 2. Here's the part where you need to be careful. If you're going to use your calculator, you have to put the top part of the fraction in parentheses. So -3 plus 17 divided by 2.
Or you can just do it as a fraction. Alpha 1 equals
The answer is 7.
So X
Now.
is 7.
Here's why you have to put it in parentheses. If you did -3 plus 7 divided by 2, calculator is going to follow order of operations. It's going to do this division first and give you 0.5 as an answer. That's incorrect. Over here, this one's a little bit easier. 16 plus 4 is
20.
20. And 20 divided by 2, 20 divided by 2 is 2. Here's your answer. Number 19, the points are 32, -1, and 0, -12. So here we go. 32 plus 0 over 2, -1 plus -12 over 2. So this part's going to be easy. This is just 32 divided by 2 is 16. -1 plus -2 is -1, take away 12. -13 divided by 2 is 6.5.
Is that one 19?
Yeah, that one, the one we just did.
Which one?
The one you just did?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Thursday. Is this all we're doing today?
We're reviewing, and then you're going to take advantage of the time to study.
I never wrote all this. I did the whole thing all. What? What's for the fun mention right here?
What?
For 19 and 18, I did that. For 13, 14, 15, I did this. Yeah. I did my own.
Okay, then we went over to page 85, and you did number 2. What? Right here. Alright, this was a multiple choice, but forget it being multiple choice. What is the value of x in the figure at the right? Well, we have a visual representation. If we have to solve for x, then we have to make something equal. What can you make equal from that picture? What could you possibly make equal? Okay, so what can you make equal?
62 and 5x plus 2.
That's right. 62 equals 5x plus 2 because those are vertical angles. That's your equation that you're going to use to solve for x. 62 equals 5x plus 2 plus 2. Right. All the x's are already on the same side. Move everything else. What am I going to write over here?
Minus 2.
Minus 2.
So I did it right.
So 60 equals 5x. And now, what am I going to write over here? Divided by 5. So x equals that.
I did it wrong, but I got it right. That's like the one I got right.
That's why we're doing this. Okay. I don't get to leave between classes, so I'll be right back. You need to spend the rest of your time studying. Especially if you didn't get all these right, you need to be thinking of what questions that you need answered when I get back. All right?
I already know I need
Get something else, start studying. Oh, no, I'm just on my calculator. You not? For what? I'm not doing that in my calculator. Study.
How you gonna study with a calculator?
Where's my tablet to Chelsea?
Sean's going to go put it on. Sean don't care.
You sanitize it. That's how.
You didn't hand sanitize? I never hand sanitize one.
Neither do I. Lord, man. Don't get something COVID.
Get that wrong. I said you're going to get that wrong. Here, Sean said. Here, Sean said. Sean said you're going to get that wrong.
You don't get that wrong.
I'm a germ.
You know you're wrong.
I know I am.
So you're talking about your mother.
You're a germ. You're a germ, but you can't stay away from Logan.
I feel I can. I stay away from like a month.
Why?
He follows me around.
That's weird.
Great.
I would never go out with somebody like follow me around.
I like all of you.
Guys, Mr. Mackey's going to come back and he's going to be like,
So see me studying on the desk.
yeah, you got to clean this one.
I got you.
You put it up.
You should
Well, if I touch her again,
Get off the desk like that. It's made for your books and not your apps. Get down.
You gotta. He's always going to
Here.
Yeah,
I sat on him and one of them is
Okay.
one.
I love Christian.
I have to sit right in front of him. Real nice.
I love you.
It's become every day.
I'm used to sleeping.
No, but you're all.
I'm not used to hearing teachers cuss. It's not so funny.
Everyone in my
Big
house.
man.
I'm so used to it already.
I'm used to making it.
Coach Turner.
What did you say, Turner?
No, Coach Evans doesn't care. And that's
That's
what I love about her.
Coach Turner.
Yeah, Coach Turner likes to cuss one time too.
Did you not hear Bussing?
My mom doesn't really care.
Literally, Aiden, Samuel, and Josh do not want to do the thing right. He said, they're getting this thing down. He said,
I never get sleep.
on the sideline. I was like, come on, dog. He said, oh, don't put it. And I said,
I was like,
he said, oh,
get
yeah,
mine.
get on one. They're running. Don't back,
Hey,
don't back.
if you're doing something, act like you're studying or something else.
This hand, why can't you not be one of our
You're about to
teachers?
see her. Because if I was your teacher, I'd write your ass up every day.
Why?
Yes.
Why not?
Because you're not doing what he asked you to do. I'd have to ask you the same thing. Y'all would hate me as a teacher. Because if I ever get mixed up, I tell you, y'all gonna not like me because I'm going to do what he says to do. Huh?
I would like you.
I think you'd be a good teacher if we followed like the rules.
I won't be a horrible teacher. Just shut up and do what you gotta do.
Sean,
That's 90% of life.
What's not done up, baby?
Oh, I'm just thinking about my bag, so I can put my bread in my bag. So they look squish.
How do you look at the notes?
No, I just feel fine around there because I was like really hot. Fine, I was built up there. I was overheated. Because
Okay.
you're wearing a long sleeve. What is that doing?
I'll be more than happy to try to answer your questions if you're not clear on.
I know what I'm not
How
doing.
many questions?
I understand it.
Yeah.
How the heck did you get
Probably.
16?
Oh, are you gonna grade them or just look at them and kind of
it's a test, Sean.
Yeah, this is for your benefit.
So you need to make sure you know these two. See, I forgot the square on the distance.
Okay.
The only one I got wrong
So you
is
have to know these two formulas. You can find the midpoint, you can find the distance.
I will put the formulas on the board.
Back in 19, like, I don't see how you got 16. Whenever 32 plus 0 divided by 2 is 32.
Are these formulas on
Lunch,
the...
well, I would only do that.
I wouldn't take them.
I would put more.
No.
I would give somebody 16.
So I put in the calculator, I put all together.
Yeah.
You know, in college, there's a website that you pay like $24 and it'll do your work, and it's not like
Like not for one assignment or for it's like $24.
Sean, shut up. You said I'm on A.
Yeah, there it is.
I was, but I was annoying.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Are these formulas on the formula chart?
I'll put them on.
That they get to use on STAR test?
They won't be taking the star test.
Yeah, no. But is it normally on there? They're on there? I just want to see one of those charts. Because I haven't looked it up and I like them.
No.
I have worked in junior high for the last 15 years and I'm in 8th grade.
That's the 8th grade.
Oh, you're 8th grade?
Yes. I know that one. Wow. Would you mind if I had that? I have an 8th grade, but I don't need it because that's what I've taught. But use all this. And so is this the same thing they get for geometry?
Well, no, by the time they get to geometry, they should already have these. There's not a reference chart for geometry.
So when they take it at the end of the year, this test
Won't have it in the
no, but if they do, no, so they won't, because they will do algebra 1 and algebra 2 as an end of the year test.
only algebra. That's the only math.
I'm just trying to learn all the things at the end of the year.
Sean? Now you hobble yourself over there and pick that up and throw it in the trash. Come on. Go find it.
Get up and go find it. It's like an Easter egg hunt now.
Wow.
Put your mask on.
Cover your face.
I gotta go get another one.
Well, cover it with your shirt then.
I didn't know they made
I just don't understand. The old chapter book in organs.
Up until about 3 years ago, it used to be they had a test for algebra 1, geometry,
That jelly?
and algebra 2.
That jelly was
And
cold.
then,
Not
I got it.
You got the warmer for this?
Smacky, I got it.
they started out with just algebra 1 and geometry.
And I had to lay it on my
Got rid of
side.
geometry and decided it was just 5 tests altogether for high school.
I was really really good out in the room and survive.
Alright, here you and after.
Mr. Mackey, what are y'all doing? What's that?
Probably crying.
Probably crying. Who's crying? Is it me?
Probably.
Honestly, it probably is. I cried this weekend. I cried a lot.
I think it's about time for you to get in this boat.
Dude, I need you.